What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Jaime Dee Show. Woo! Live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. I'm live every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. PST. We had a little bit of a late start today. We had some technical difficulties, but we're here and we're ready to get it started, all right? So we have our news headlines of the day. We're going to talk about dating and therapy and how that goes hand in hand. And then later, we're going to also have Ronda Kennedy, who is the candidate for U.S. Senate, who's going to join me live to discuss affirmative action, LGBTQ plus customers being denied services, being a Black female Republican, interracial relationships, and more. So make sure you stick around because we have a lot to talk about and go over. Make sure you call in at 702-221-7283 to get your opinions heard. Again, that's 702-221-7283. All right, let's get into these news headlines. All right, there's a lot going on. And I feel like every time I get back on my show, there's another incident where a celebrity is being thrown something at. So Drake is now a victim of an audience member throwing things at him. Somebody threw their cell phone at Drake while he was on stage. Why are y'all doing that? And how many extra cell phones do y'all have? They threw a cell phone at this man and it hit him in his arm. How many extra cell phones do you guys have for you to just waste a phone like that? I'm not sure what kind of phone it was. It looked like an iPhone, and we all know iPhones are not inexpensive. So why are you throwing your phones? And what do you expect this man to do? Pick up your phone and put his number in your phone or take a picture with it? Y'all are weird. Weird, I say. Weird. Stop doing that. You guys are making it harder for everybody to enjoy their favorite artist. Soon they're going to start putting up barriers or pushing people far back because y'all want to be dumb. Stop being dumb, please. In other news, we have Blueface. If you don't know who that is, he's a rapper and he's known for dating Krishan Rock, who is a reality star on Baddies and a huge reality star for the Zeus Network. And they have Krishan and Blueface have a disgusting relationship. It's just horrible because it's just so toxic. But now Blueface is in the news because of his son. And this is just horrendous news. This man went towards his son who was in their pantry looking for food and says, "Why are you in the pantry looking for food? There's booty cheeks in the house. Are you gay?" And this kid's a child. I don't mean teenager. I don't mean somebody above 11 or 10. This kid's a child. And Blueface went and asked his son, is he gay? Because he is not trying to sneak a peek at the strippers Blueface has in his house. Like, what? That's ridiculous. And you can tell in the video his son is extremely uncomfortable, doesn't know how to answer the question, probably doesn't even understand the significance of the question or even what's truly going on. And the fact that Blueface is pressuring his child to answer a question about if he's gay because he's in the pantry looking for snacks while his disrespectful father has strippers in the house is extremely horrific. Then his mom gets on social media and says, oh, well, the son has different nannies and the son isn't looking for strippers and isn't getting any of the sexual attention and isn't getting any booty cheeks. And it's like, what? What is wrong with this dysfunctional family? That kid looked terrified, and I feel so bad for that kid. Whether your kid is gay, straight, bi, black, blue, whatever it may be, he or she may be, leave y'all kids alone. And what if this kid was feeling that way? Now he ain't gonna feel like he can tell his dad because of this specific incident right here that is 100% gonna cause trauma. And people love saying, oh, it's the gay people who like to push the agenda, like to push sexuality on the kids. Straight do the exact same thing. Like I told you, Blueface has naked women in the house with his son, his child. If y'all don't think that's the same thing as indoctrinating your children, then I don't know what to tell y'all. In some Oakland news, because I want to talk about this because this really bothers me. It happens everywhere, but specifically, it's going viral in Oakland. Some San Francisco tourists watch as thieves break into their cars and steal all of their belongings on the 4th of July. I said Oakland, but this happens specifically in the San Francisco area. What is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with y'all? And I said Oakland because it's actually Oakland blog who reported this. Why are y'all ruining people's holidays? Why are y'all ruining people's lives? Why are y'all stealing stuff that you didn't work hard for? Do you know how hurtful that is for people to sit there and watch their belongings get stolen? and feel like they can't do anything about it. It's ridiculous that you people are really out here stealing from innocent people who work hard for what they earn. I'm an individual who just got into this industry as pertains to this sector, and it is so hard to remain on top of everything because there's so much going on, and finances aren't the best. However, and I'm always going to hold myself accountable, being open and honest with you all, but I'm grateful for where I'm at. And I pray and I thank God all the time. And I'm grateful for those who are in my background supporting me. And I'm grateful for the money that I do get when I get it. But for somebody to come and steal from somebody else, it's horrible. I know if that happened for me, I would feel so defeated. I'm working so hard to keep my head afloat. And to know that other people are victims of robberies and it hits Vegas all the time and no one's safe from it, it's scary. So I know if that happened to me, God forbid, I will be broken. Can y'all please remember you're human. Other people are human as well. And that you're affecting the lives of innocent people for a quick buck. Man, I just really hate seeing stuff like this. So Victor Wembanyama says he was grabbed from behind during the incident involving Britney Spears and clarifies he was unaware that it was a pop star until hours later. There's so many reports going on. Britney Spears says that she was hit. Some people are saying that the security guard hit Britney Spears. Some other media outlets are saying no, they just pushed Britney Spears and she slapped herself in the face. It's just a lot of reports going on, and it's insane, especially since Victor Wembanyama is here for the NBA Summer League as well as NBA Con, and he was a first draft pick, and everybody is looking to see where he goes, and it's a lot going on. And hey, free Britney. Y'all know I am not somebody who victim blames, but it's a lot going on. And that goes to show when you make it into a space and you're big, the devil comes for you. So whoever is at fault, just apologize. One of y'all apologize. One of y'all step up, and one of y'all just come on. Just be better. Be better at doing what you need to do. Be better at doing what you need to do, because we're humans, and a lot of times the media outlets pushes us to look like horrible individuals when they don't have to. All we have to do is step up and say, hey, actually, this is what happened. I'm sorry. But I will say this, social media loves social mediaing, blogs love blogging, and people love the exposure, whether it's good or bad. So it's going to be a while before we figure out the true story. And some Las Vegas news. Unfortunately, Las Vegas police Las Vegas police locate previously missing 9-year-old boy, which is great because to know that there's children missing, especially African American kids. Like I told you, we don't have the same resources and access as a lot of people. It's sad that there's missing children, and there's missing children in all other different demographics as well. But we do see a lot of times when it's people like us, we don't get the same effort in trying to find us and help us. But it's great that Las Vegas Metro Police Department says Maurice Montgomery was located safely. So all prayers to the family, all prayers to the son. I know it's a very traumatic situation that they were trying to locate this missing 9-year-old boy. I know it's a lot with that. So before we take a quick break, I want you all to know that I'm going to talk about dating and therapy and why that's an important social issue. Because there's a lot of people out here who are dating who shouldn't be dating. There's a lot of people out here who are lying about their intentions as it pertains to dating. There's a lot of people out here dragging people through the mud versus just saying, hey, this isn't for me. Versus going to therapy. Versus holding themselves accountable. Versus not just saying, hey, this happened to me, so this is how I am. Or, hey, because I'm a Pisces, this is how I am. We're going to get into this topic. And then after that, we're going to have Ronda Kennedy, who's a candidate for U.S. Senate, who's going to join me live to discuss affirmative action, LGBTQ plus customers being denied services, being a Black female Republican, interracial relationships, and more. So make sure to stick around. And as always, you're more than welcome to call into the show at 702-221-7283. I want everybody to call into the show. I know I talk about racial issues, and I know sometimes I say, oh, Black this or Black that. But remember, I love everybody, whether you're white, Black, Hispanic, Korean, Asian, whatever you may be, gay, straight, bi, lesbian, I don't care. It's just I am an African American man when I speak about my experiences because we don't have those platforms to speak about our experiences. And I just want everybody to be happy and equal. I really do. So make sure to tune in every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. PST to the Jaime Dee Show, and tune into our, my live stream at YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook at the Jaime Dee Show. I'll be right back. Stick around. Ronda, what's up, friend? You can... I'll bring you in like a little bit. Yeah? We can make this a quick break. We bring people together over good food and fun. Come in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and come hungry because our portions are huge. Visit us online and see our entire menu at hashhouseagogo.com. Hash House a Go-Go. It's a Midwest thing, and there's nothing else like it.
Is your dog suffering from a sensitive stomach? Hi, it's Kelly the Cookie Lady from Mooch's Munchies. Our dog has super sensitive tummies, and I needed to find a low-fat treat that wouldn't give them gas.
15 seconds.
Most of the treats on the market are loaded with fillers, chemicals, and chicken fat. Many of them weren't even food. Well, I knew I could do better, so I developed Mooch's Munchies, and I'm happy to be able to share them with you. Stop by our store or our website, moochesmunchies.com, and find out why we say that Mooch's Munchies are totally awesome.
And we're back. Welcome to the Jaime Dee Show. Woo! Live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. Also live every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. PST on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook at the Jaime Dee Show. That's spelled TheJaimeDeeshow. All right, let's get into this topic because I really have a lot to say about this. And I actually want to read some comments in some posts I saw on social media. I would love for you guys to call in at 702-221-7283. This is a conversation about dating and therapy and how they go hand in hand. So let's get into this topic, okay? So, in my own personal experience, I've been through a lot of hell dates because people are just trash. And I love to believe that there are good people out there because there are. But people are just horrible. People like to lie about their attention. People like to lie about their trauma. People like to act like there's something they're not. And if you don't know me, you would know this, but a lot of my friends and family know this. I'm a very open and honest person. I'm also a very blunt individual who asks a lot of questions. And oftentimes I tell people that I'm interested in or people that I look forward to date that, hey, you don't have to lie to me. Or, hey, this is what I'm looking for. If this is what you're looking for, that's awesome. Or, hey, what are you looking for? And you don't have to lie to me. Or if this is what you want, let me know. And I tell people, I'm very, very open and honest. I tell people all the time, if you're just looking to have sex, tell me. Because I could be in the same space. We are adults. We are grown adults. And we need to, let me tell you this. we want to make some stuff shake, okay? If you're just looking for sex, let me know that. We don't have to waste each other's time. Sometimes we're looking for that too. It's called a spade a spade. But a lot of times people like to lie about their intentions and lie about their traumas. And lie about the resources they have received to become a better individual. And a lot of times people lie about going to therapy, which is like, why you gotta lie, Craig? So I found this social media post from Cyrus Agbo on social media, and it was posted on Spiritual Word, and I found it very, very interesting. I'm gonna read some of his tweets. That's from this conversation. Cyrus Agbo says, I apologize to every woman that dated me before I went to therapy last year and healed emotionally. Honestly, didn't know I had childhood trauma that made me as detached as I became each time. I'm so sorry I didn't know better. I'm clear now. I'm whole now. I pray you are too. Hey, all power to you, my fellow Black man. And I'm not laughing at you or making fun of you, but I tell people all the time, you are never healed. You are always in the process of healing. That trauma always shows up. It always comes back, and you never know how it's gonna rear its ugly head. So don't just try to tell people that you're healed, because I know a lot of people that I've even talked to personally who said this exact same, no offense, dude, crap, and we're still just as toxic as ever, or use that, oh, I'm healed, or I went to therapy as an scapegoat. I really hope that this man is being serious, and I really hope that he's being genuine and opening himself up to date, and I hope that he's not lying. But we just have to talk about this real quick. They're saying that my mic sounds like it's hollow, and people can't really hear me, so I'm going to let you know that real quick. But the issue that I have with this is that a lot of times people say this and they're not being honest. And I don't know this person's situation, but I'm bringing this up not to be negative, but to have a true conversation, because a lot of times men don't know how to process their emotions. Men don't know how to receive help. And a lot of times it's not our fault because of social construction of reality and how we're pushed to be as individuals. So if this man is being true, I truly, truly applaud him. I want him to continue to be great, but I want him to also understand how dangerous it is to post these type of comments on social media, because you may attract the wrong crowd. And you may attract people who are expecting something of you. They may push you to act a certain way. Now let's read some more of the statements. He said, to everyone asking, I've reached out to the ones I could. I'm not seeking attention here. I literally just tweeted my thoughts because I had a moment today that made me remember my journey, and I was thankful for how far I've come. If you still feel the need to be negative, enjoy it. And hear me out. I'm not being negative towards this man. I'm just talking about my own personal experiences. So when I saw that, that was just triggering to me because I've been in therapy. And I know that I still have situations that I have to work through. And I still understand that sometimes when I feel like I'm quote unquote healed and I'm talking to somebody, they trigger something. I have to work through that with that individual. So I tell people all the time, don't mistake your words. But if this man believes that and he truly works towards that, I support him. And I wouldn't say anything negative under his comments, but I just want to make that thought. Another person responded back, said, bro, 99% of men are on this table. Our fathers/parents didn't know better, so it's not their fault too. We were not really taught to properly love. We had to find our own way. Sadly, our way isn't the way. Trauma stops with me, my wife, and my kids. We love properly. Hey, all power to you. Psych, TCHA. I completely agree with him. He's right. And I'm so sure that he's going to love his family the way he wants to. And I support it. Now, somebody asked Cyrus Agbo, what was your last trigger that finally made you realize you need help? He says, I was a serial dater. Then I met a good woman from church, a drama-free relationship. Despite how good she was, I was withdrawn, but even burst into tears at times, and also terrible at articulating my feelings. It hurt her. I was the problem. We ended and I checked into therapy. Now, somebody else asked, what did you do to them? I'm curious. He said, I was emotionally inconsistent, withdrawn without communication, gaslighting, occasionally entertaining attention from others, and always quick to break up. I didn't know my patterns were rooted in my childhood experiences until I got tired of repeating them and checked into therapy. Now, then he was asked, would he go back and redate some of these people? He said, some yes, some no. He feels though that, some certain experiences I showed him who he should talk to, who he shouldn't, and so on and so forth, and how he should protect his space. And I agree. Make this very, very clear. I made a statement earlier about how I've seen individuals use this as a tactic to get individuals to believe them. And it's like, no, you're not fully healed, you're not fully whole, you're still in the process of healing, and you are a better off individual. And I support that. Don't use that as a tactic to lie. Now, for individuals like him who may be telling the truth, and I support that, all power to you. I want to make sure you guys don't misconstrue my words. I want him to live the best life he can live. But always remember, you are never fully healed. Trauma can come back years later. It's about continuing to do the work. It's about walking in the space you see yourself in. It's about understanding and analyzing and being self-aware of what you have done in the past, which is what he did. I'm so grateful for him. And I'm using him as an example for how people should be if they're truly telling the truth. When you're looking in these spaces, remember to communicate your intentions. Now, let's talk about this real quick. And if you want to call in at 702-221-7283, I would really appreciate it. I love talking to you guys. When we're looking at individuals who are having these conversations about how they messed up and how they went back and said they're sorry, I applaud that. But I really want to know what actions are people taking in these current moments to continue the healing process and continue to be the individual that they are and that they see themselves being. Because a lot of times individuals get this one-off therapy and they're like, oh, I'm healed. And they don't continue to walk in the space they see themselves in. So I tell people all the time, if you're going to seek help, truly seek help, walk in that space, remember to ask questions, remember to give yourself grace, and also remember your actions don't just affect you, they affect others. So this is to my men out there, this is to my women out there. Please stop lying to each other. Be open and honest about your intentions. You're going to therapy, talk about that. Shoot, invite your partner to therapy with you so that you can have those conversations with them. and be open and honest. And don't think just because you went to therapy once, you are solved, everything's fixed, and everything's gonna be better. Dating and therapy definitely goes hand in hand, but it all starts with you recognizing where you need help and getting the actual help. All right, so let me get off my soapbox because I just get really irritated when it comes to dating, especially in our current climate. And like I said, I know I had two different thoughts because I kind of struggle with like telling the truth, lying, was it retention, was it not? Hey, but more power to this man. I wish him absolute best. Hope he gets exactly what he's looking for in life, and I pray that he continues to walk in the space he sees himself in. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna have Ronda Kennedy, who is the candidate for U.S. Senate, who's gonna join me live to discuss affirmative action, LGBTQ plus customers being denied services, being a Black female Republican, interracial relationships, and more. Make sure you guys stick around because I have a lot to get into with Miss Ronda Kennedy. Okay, you're now tuned into the Jaime Dee Show live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. Stay tuned. You need the microphones there or no? Not the microphone, the headphones? Make sure you're set up correctly. And remember be as close as possible to the microphone. And you don't have to look directly at the camera. You could look
Where's the camera?
yeah.
Yeah, that's like hot. This camera should be there so that.
So we can still hear me. How? Oh, because of this mic. I think it's
So I just got a text.
He's not even on the screen.
I just got a text with the mic.
Yeah. It's just the camera. I think we have a mic on. Huh? I think you have it. No, I don't like. So these are no audio source, so I don't know.
I guess. But they're fascinating. And I remember being in Old Hampshire, not New Hampshire.
What about now? Can you guys hear me now?
And there was a guy by the
Testing
name.
1 2, testing 1 2, testing 1 2.
Yeah, I was in the Royal Hampshire Museum of the Royal Hampshire Regiment.
Restart it.
Military housing.
Sometimes that happens where
And
stream
this guy was one of the security guards. he said something. I said, he goes, "Oh, America." I said, "Yeah." Can I ask you a question? I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why is it that you shot all the buffaloes to make the red Indian song?" First of all, don't say red Indian, say Native Americans. Well, you're Native American, aren't you? I'm like, well, yeah, technically I'm a Native American. Why did I shoot all the buffaloes? I've never shot a buffalo. But they are fascinated by it, and I think Brian is right. There's just that.
You want to go back?
They say legal action and lever action. And still in the West.
They keep it fun. It's security guards. I don't know. It's us. So. Welcome back to the Jaime Dee Show. Woo! Live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. PST. I don't know what's going on. We have a few technical difficulties today. Y'all hear security guards and us talking in the room. I don't know. But we're going to keep it going because that's what live radio is all about. Remember, this is a live morning radio show, not a podcast, so you're getting all the nitty gritty. You're not getting edits. You're not getting cuts. You're getting the raw, the real Jaime Dee. Hey, well, welcome back. We're super happy to have you all here. If you're just now tuning in, you already missed the daily news headlines, and you missed the conversation about dating and therapy. I spoke about how some people lie about therapy or use it as a weapon, and how some people use it as a great tool, and it's great. And I pray for all those who are using therapy in a great way to be amazing. And so I'm pushing for people to be intentional about their actions and walk in the space they see themselves in. But now we have Ronda Kennedy, who is a candidate for U.S. Senate, who is joining me live to discuss affirmative action, LGBTQ plus customers being denied services, being a Black female Republican, interracial relationships, and more. Welcome in, Ronda Kennedy. Woo! What's up, friend? How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Jaime?
I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to have you on my show today.
I always love chatting with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, friend. You look great today.
Thank you.
So we're going to have you in and talk to you about a lot. So, I'm always about having a respectful conversation, but it may get a little heated. We don't know. So let's jump straight into it, Ronda. You are running for U.S. Senate, correct?
Correct.
And there are people out there, especially in our ethnic group, who don't know much about politics. And I'm going to ask a very low question,
okay,
because I want you to explain to our audience members what that means to be a U.S. Senate representative.
Okay. Well, it's a part of the legislative branch. As you know, there's three branches of government. We have the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. The U.S. Senate is part of the legislative branch, the lawmakers. So there's two houses in Congress. Collectively, they're called Congress. The House of Representatives, which are the lower house, and then you have the Senate, which is the higher house of Congress. And each state elects two representatives for the U.S. Senate, regardless of population. And I'm running for the higher house of Congress, which is the U.S. Senate, the lawmakers.
Awesome. And the reason why I'm going to ask Laura questions is because journalists love to be like, well, you shouldn't ask these questions. The audience members already know this. And we can't expect people to know this, especially if we're trying to educate the masses. Talk to us about what does the duties of a U.S. Senate look like?
It looks like passing and voting on bills that the lower house has already voted on. They are I want to say not judicial, but they are the trying branch of the government for the executive branch. So, for example, for the impeachment, right? When Congress voted to impeach, that's like the indictment, right? And then the U.S. Senate is the trier of the facts for the indictment of impeachment, and also for confirmation for the executive branch. The executive branch is the enforcement branch of the government, so they have to fill particular offices, like they have the FBI, their cabinet offices, Secretary of State, and so forth. So the U.S. Senator is the ones that confirm those the people that the executive branch puts forward to lead these various departments. So the Senate branch has a very important part
Okay.
Which kind of gets overlooked.
Gotcha. And so what makes you think you're experienced enough to be the U.S. Senate representative for Las Vegas?
Well, first of all, I know the roles of government. I mean, what I just cited, I know you can probably ask other members that actually represent those offices, and I guarantee they probably don't even know their duties. But
Right.
the point is that I understand that I am a representative of people. This office does not belong to me. This office belongs to the people. It is not about my personal feelings, it's not about my personal beliefs. It's about the will of the people. And I think that if more elected officials remember that this is not their office. This office belongs to the people. Just like you were elected, you can be removed. And that's what, my compass will always land me on the will of the people and making sure that I am representing the office based on the needs of the people and the wants of the people, not on my personal or what any particular other member of Congress, the representatives or Senate or the president, whatever they want. It's irregardless. I'm going to do what the people want.
Give us an example. Give us some snippets of your resume so we can understand how you are the right person for this position.
Well, the thing is that I lived as an American, as a Black woman in America. I came from my family. My great grandfather was the first Black state assemblyman for Wisconsin. My great aunt started the first Black bank in Wisconsin. She started Columbia Savings and Loans. My great grandfather was a runaway slave from a Missouri plantation who later joined the Union Army as a water boy. My grandmother and my grandfather started the first Black flower shop in Wisconsin when no white shops would give my grandmother a job because she was Black. It was back in the 60s. I'm a product of a teen pregnancy. My mom had me when she was 16 years old, and I'm thankful that I'm here now because she could have aborted me, but I wasn't. I'm here. And so I lived, and I didn't live a rosy life. It was struggles at times, but I brought myself up, went to law school, became an attorney. Before that, I was a city building inspector. I was number 2 out of 280 some people who took the exam. I scored the second highest to fill one of the 3 spots, did that. So I know what it's like to be an American, to be an everyday average American. What it's like to having to pay your bills, having to support your family. Nothing was ever handed to me, and I didn't get any handouts. I fought for everything I had, and I'm going to take those experiences to the Senate and represent the everyday average American, not the privileged American, not the ones who went to the Ivy League schools, had everything handed to them, the ones that understand what it's like to actually survive in America and get those opportunities to be able to further themselves and their families.
So why Republican then? Why is that your registered party? We see often that Republicans aren't for the average people. So explain to me why you are a Republican who's running for U.S. Senate.
I don't think it has to do with party.
Okay.
I think it has to do with the person. So you get it on both sides. I don't think a lot of Democrats are for the average person.
You don't think so?
No. For example, let's talk about the COVID money for businesses.
Okay.
Okay. I had businesses that came to me, average everyday businesses, a lot of them African American businesses, who did not qualify or get any COVID money for their businesses. And one of the things, like living in America, being real, this one particular person who had a beauty shop, who was forced to close, had over a 700 credit score when they closed, but after COVID, when the COVID money came, they had a lower credit score. So they were denied the money because of their credit score.
Right.
Why didn't the Democrats in Congress think about that? The real world. So are you going to pay your credit card bills? You're going to pay, bills that affect your credit, or are you going to feed your family when your complete income is cut off? Of course, they're going to feed their family, and then in turn, they're not going to pay those credit card bills. Their credit score is going to drop, and they end up in a cycle where now they can't get help. The billions of dollars that was put aside for businesses, that big box businesses like Walmart and all these other, Amazon, all these big corporations got, but the everyday average mom and pop business didn't get that money because they base it on your credit score. So why didn't the Democrats in Congress think about that?
To make a great point, if the Democrats think about it, why didn't the Republicans think about it? Did they do anything to step up and help these individuals who don't have the same credit scores as those who are higher?
Nobody did. That's my point.
Okay.
Nobody did. So it doesn't have to do with the party. It has to do with an individual. It has to do with experience.
So what does it mean to be a Republican then? Can you explain that for
It means
our audience?
Well, I have to say that. So my great grandfather did run away from a Republican plantation. He ran away from a Democrat-owned plantation. So my family was actually owned by Democrat slave owners. And I'm sorry, as a Black American, I refuse to belong to a party. I don't care how long ago it was. I refuse to belong to a party who thought owning human beings and enslaving them to do labor for free is okay.
But wait, so that was white people in general, whether it was Republican or Democrats. What's the difference? There's a lot of Republicans who are doing stuff like that right now. Modern day slavery,
For example,
prison systems. There's Republicans who are keeping people in the prison systems for free labor as we are talking right now.
and who owns the prison?
Tell me, I don't know.
Who owns the prison?
Do Democrats own it or Republicans own it?
They're owned by corporations.
Who are usually what, Republicans, right?
No, they play both sides of the aisle. So we can go through, all donations are public, right?
Okay.
We can go through and I will tell you how many Democrats receive campaign donations from corporations that own prisons.
Mm.
Why do you think the Joe Biden crime bill happened? You think it was really to keep criminals off the street, or you think it was to supply bodies to the prisons that donated to his campaign, his senatorial campaign, for decades, and along with the Clintons?
So let me ask you this: where is that proof though? Where do you have that proof that this was done to put more bodies in prisons versus actually keeping crime off the streets?
Okay, so let's do a little deductive reasoning here.
Okay.
So the Joe Biden crime bill comes into act, and the number of people who are incarcerated increased.
Mm.
1 and 1 still equals 2.
Okay.
We don't have to sit there and actually write out and do the math to say that it equals 2. If you enact a bill that's meant to put people in prison for a longer amount of time, particularly crimes that are more prevalent in the African American community, then what was the purpose?
So let me ask you this: what would you do if you were in power to combat this? Is there anything you can do?
Combat what?
To combat situations like this, where we have the Joe Biden crime bill that is putting more African American people in jail. Is there anything you can do as a part of a U.S. Senate that can combat this issue?
Of course.
Like what?
Get rid of the crime bill. And let's just say, I know a lot of people and a lot of Democrats don't like to hear this, but the Joe Biden crime bill put a lot of Black and brown people in prison.
Mm.
And actually President Trump was undoing the Joe Biden crime bill and letting and getting a lot of those people who were sentenced unfairly, I might add, under the Joe Biden crime bill out of prison. And they weren't white, they were African American people, because you can have a pile of cocaine and not go to prison. You can have a little bit of crack and you're going to prison for life. You're going to prison for life. Okay, so let's just be
Ronda, I'm sorry.
I'll
take you serious. I
know, but it's true.
Okay, so Ronda, the reason why I'm not going so hard with you behind those different topics, because I want to know where you're getting your knowledge from and your statements from, and that's fine that you have that.
Facts.
Right, and that's fine. But I want to take a step back and let's talk about affirmative action, because that's something that we're seeing in the news currently. Mm-hmm. And I want to know, what are your thoughts about that? Do you believe that we still need affirmative action? Do you agree with them, the Supreme Court, who struck down affirmative action? Tell us your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts on that, and I talked about this on Newsmax on Saturday, but we need opportunities.
Who's we?
As African Americans, we need opportunities. We need to have equal business opportunities. We need to have equal housing opportunities for buying houses, investing, things of that sort. That's where you're going to build generational wealth. Giving one or two people affirmative action only helps one or two people in that situation.
You think so?
We need it on a mass scale.
Okay.
Yes, we do. And the fact that you're saying that that we're so incapable of doing something on our own is different. There are laws in place. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 that prevents discrimination. Discrimination is different than you get priority because you're a certain color versus I want equal opportunity. I'm qualified, I'm more qualified, and I'm Black than you, hire me.
And do we see that often or no?
Do we see what often?
Do we see that people actually follow not discriminating against because of the Civil Rights Act, and making sure that because you are Black and because you are more qualified that you can get hired? Do we see that often?
Of course not.
Okay.
You
so
know why?
why?
Because it's not being enforced. There are laws in place. Can you enforce the law?
So my question to you is, because I still didn't get an answer, do you agree with affirmative action being stricken down, or do you want it back?
I don't believe in affirmative action.
You don't. Okay, so you don't.
I believe in equal opportunity.
Okay, if you don't believe in affirmative action, but you believe in equal opportunity, how are we going to get equal opportunity if there's no policies and procedures in place or laws that are making sure people can act equal opportunity? That was one step closer for us to get equal opportunity, and now it's gone. We now see a precedent that people are able to just pretty much do what they want to do without repercussions of discriminating against other people. Am I wrong for saying that?
Yes, there are laws in place.
Like what?
Like the Civil Rights Act.
But you just said it's not being enforced.
So then.
But affirmative action was being enforced.
How is affirmative action being enforced?
Because you can literally get your business shut down. You can get sued. You also get audited to make sure that you have a certain amount of people in your schools and that are actually being hired in your companies. That's why statistics and analytics are in place.
And that's based on the Civil Rights Act, which is already in place.
But that's not being.
Yes, it is. Actually, that has more teeth than affirmative
But
action.
you just said right now that it's not being enforced, right?
And neither is affirmative action.
But it was. I worked in admissions for several years, and it was being enforced. We had to specifically send out our statistics so that the government can see that we have this many Black people, we have this many Asian people, we are accepting these many people. We're not discriminating.
You know why?
I've never heard of the Civil Rights Act that's actually helping the people.
And that's the problem.
Okay.
The Civil Rights Act has more teeth. The Civil Rights Act applies to private businesses. So because you don't have that knowledge, you can't enforce the rights that you don't know you have. Why don't you know you have those rights?
So let me ask you this.
Because they're not educating and telling people their rights.
You're right. And I will tell you this. I did do my research on this, so I know I have these rights. But let's talk about this, though, because it leads to our next point. If the Civil Rights Act is put into place so that we don't discriminate, why are business owners, private business owners, that able to tell LGBTQ plus customers that they won't serve them because of their sexual beliefs?
Because they're not a protected class.
Why not?
Because the Civil Rights Act was passed by Congress, correct?
For who?
You can't discriminate based on race, color, or national origin, religion, and sex.
Yep, it says discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, all that great stuff, national origin. But if this is supposed to be for equal opportunity for everybody, why doesn't it include specific people? This is why I'm going to take a step back. We have these other laws that are put into place that are now being stricken down, like affirmative action, because we have to dive deep into what does it mean to be a protected group.
What part of the Civil Rights Act protects your sexual orientation?
I'm saying it doesn't.
Exactly.
Which is
why the Supreme Court ruled the way they did.
Right, but I'm saying that if that Civil Rights Act was supposed to help out Black people, they just struck down the Affirmative Rights Act. So
are we talking about the LGBT?
We're talking about both, but because it goes hand in hand. Because I'm gonna tell you why. Because we're both minority groups, and I want you to understand that you said that you want equal opportunity for everybody.
Correct.
And if you bring up the Civil Rights Act of 1964, that is not an equal opportunity act for everybody. On top of that, if we're looking at our precedent and what we have today, we now have a precedent where we're able to strike down laws that were put into place to protect people like me and you, protect African Americans, protect women, protect gay people.
I have the Civil Rights Act, and my law wasn't stricken down. That's what I prefer to use. First of all, if I went to court, I would rather go to court on a violation of the Civil Rights Act than go on a violation of the affirmative action.
But why? What's the difference?
The difference is that your protection lies with the Civil Rights Act. It
But
could be 10
they're
people.
both
Because no,
in place.
affirmative action is only going to protect, if you hire one person, that's one person.
Okay.
Okay? The Civil Rights Act protects a class of people. So every single person in that class that works for an employer has that protection. Not just one person that they hired.
Mm-hmm. So
if it was based on affirmative action.
Okay, talk to me about this, because again, it prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. However, this is in hiring, promoting, and firing, right? We're looking at different things as it pertains to the provisions, right? The provisions of the Civil Rights Act. But let's look at what just happened with affirmative action. Let me ask you this: do you believe that because of the precedent, we now see that them being able to strike down things that are put into place to protect specific groups of people, they can go back and attack acts like this?
But you're protecting a group of people.
Right.
One single group.
Well, my question to you was, no, that wasn't just for one single group. Affirmative action wasn't just for Black people.
I didn't say it was just for Black people.
So why did you say it was just one single group then?
It is one. It is one.
What's the one single group?
The one single group is if you're not white, non-white.
Okay.
Hiring.
Okay.
That's one group. So you're separating. Now you're separating two groups.
Okay.
You're saying if you have
being whites versus minorities.
If you have
pretty much everybody else on earth.
But why are we being separate?
But some white people are minorities.
I want to be separate. I want to be equal.
Okay, so
separate is not equal.
How are we going to be equal?
We're going to be equal is you take the most qualified person for that job. You're colorblind. You don't base it on color. You base it on the best qualifications for the job. Period. And if we as a people were getting equal opportunities to education, let's say, like we know that the inner city schools are jacked up. We know that LAUSD and other places where there's a majority of minority people are graduating students with a 5th grade reading level. How are they supposed to actually apply for these jobs and qualify and be the best qualified person when they're graduating with a 5th grade reading level?
Okay, so let me say this.
That's where the discrimination starts.
Let me say this, because I feel like we're going in a circle, and I feel like no, I'm telling you why. I feel like we're going in a circle because we're not getting to a point. So let me take a step back. What issues do you see yourself tackling that can help people like you, people like me, and people in part of other minority demographics?
Setting aside and allocating for business opportunities. Setting aside and allocating and making sure that every single school in America is treated equally and that people have school choice so that as an African American group, we can go to whatever school we want to go to, not being forced to go to a school that's graduating
okay, so Ronda,
education. Will you ask me?
No, real quick. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry for that. But the reason I'm doing that, because I respect you, but I'm cutting you off because I'm not hearing. So let me be a better. Let me be a better radio personality and journalist. What procedures and or laws will you try to push for that will actually help protect people going to school?
That's what I was just saying.
You're not saying nothing to me.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I did.
You're just saying I want to make sure that we can all get into school.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to
you
me
said
about this.
legislatively then.
Okay.
Then let me qualify my statement.
Okay.
Legislatively then.
Okay.
I want to make sure and hold every single school and every state accountable for their schools and every local school district accountable for graduating students who actually have the skill level to move on to the next level.
How?
Well,
what are you gonna do?
The purse strings. We control the money. Congress controls the money, right? So okay, let me go back and give a sentence.
Okay.
So the purse strings, which is the budget, the money. So state schools that get federal funding comes from federal dollars that are allocated by the federal government and the legislature, which is part of what I'm running for. So if you're a state that has subpar education, you're not offering school choice to the parents and the students, then you won't be getting any federal money.
Okay.
Get your crap together and then they'll give you money.
Okay.
But if you're not living up to graduating students at a level they should be graduating with, you don't deserve any money and you're not getting any money. Throwing money at a problem does not solve it.
So you're saying you're only going to give money to people who are actually qualified based off their GPA and based off how they're running, correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
States.
States, right?
States.
That's what I'm hearing. So what about those schools that don't have the same resources to qualify or compete against those high qualified schools?
Let me ask you this: why don't they have the same?
Because they don't have the money.
Why don't they have the money?
I don't know. You tell me.
They don't have the money because they're not allocated the money on the state and local level.
Because what? Because of their qualifications?
No, because they are targeting and not giving a crap about inner city schools.
But didn't you just say?
And they want to keep everybody in their own school system. What's wrong with school choice? I'm for school choice.
So you're saying this. You're saying that you won't give money to those inner city schools, but you allow students and parents to have the choice.
I didn't say that.
No, let me ask you then. So are you saying that you're just about giving parents and students school choice to pick whatever school they want to go to that may have resources to help them qualify and to make a better candidate student? Or are you saying that you want to help out those inner city schools as well? Because if you're just telling students they can just go anywhere, how is it going to help out inner city schools that need the money?
Because it's like this. If a state and a county, and then it trickles down from the state, it goes from the feds to the state and the states to the local school districts, right? And then of course the local school districts by taxes, property taxes, things like that. So if you have 3 schools, right, and one school's in the inner city and they're not funding them, and they're having teachers who don't really care about those schools because they're, kids look at them like poor minority kids, we don't really need to educate them. And you have 2 schools that are good schools, and then all these students want to go to these 2 schools because they have what's called school choice. The local school district and the state's not going to have any choice but to make sure that 3rd school that they didn't care about is up to par, because they don't have enough room to put all of those students in those 2 good school districts.
Okay.
So if all the schools were equal, I don't know how much parents would exercise school choice. They're exercising school choice because they want their kids to go to a good school. But when those are in control, but the state are only giving the resources to students that are in these other schools, these good schools, not inner city schools, and then students are forced to go to this school based on their zip code. How is that fair?
Rhonda, I'm so sad we're running out of time.
All right.
Rhonda, I'm so sorry we're out of time. There's so much I want to talk to you about, so we're going to have to have you back on.
All right.
We're going to have you back on because there's so much I want to talk to you about. I'm so sad we got technical difficulties, but it's okay. It's okay. Rhonda, because I do want to highlight more of your issues and what you're going for and how you can actually help out the U.S. Senate and also help out the common people. So give our audience members the chance to follow you. Tell them how they can find and support you.
They can look at on my website, rondakennedy.com with no H. It's RONDA.com. And all my social media is on there, and my Twitter, my Instagram. My Facebook was hacked and hijacked.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've actually given notice. I'm filing an injunction against Facebook to in court to restore my Facebook page. That was hijacked, and now it's all in Chinese. So so there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, okay. Well, make sure you guys follow Ronda Kennedy. Let me give her the bell ring. That's Ronda Kennedy, who's running for U.S. Senate. Just make sure to support. Make sure you ask questions. Make sure you guys call in because you never know who's running for what position. And you want to make sure that everybody has a clear head. Obviously, Ronda knows what she's talking about, and she will continue to hold herself down. But we're gonna have to come back because I have a few things I want to continue to talk to you about, Ronda.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you, Jamie, because this has been an invigorating conversation.
Yeah.
I always enjoy your challenge.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that we're able to have a respectful conversation where you're actually able to educate the people, because a lot of times people just get into these super specific conversations and you don't even know what the U.S. Senate is, and people aren't, like you said, getting into education because they're in different school systems. So I want to make sure that everybody feels that they have the knowledge to have these conversations and be able to understand. Hey, this is the Jaime Dee Show live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. We just had Ronda Kennedy on, who is running for U.S. Senate. Make sure you guys pay attention, go to the website, and figure out who your representatives could be. You're now listening to, like I said, the Jaime Dee Show live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. I'll be back next Monday from 10 to 11 a.m. PST. Peace out. What's up, everybody? You were just tuned into the Jaime Dee Show, live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. If you aren't in the Las Vegas area, you can catch my show live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook at the Jaime Dee Show. That's TheJaimeDeeshow. If you want to advertise your business on my show, email us at info@jaimedee.com. Thank you all so much for your support. See you tomorrow.